So yeah, human trafficking is a big deal, and obviously that's something that's near to me. Most people don't know, but the other family that's with us on the camp here in Colorado, actually the way we met was building a specifically child sex trafficking rehabilitation center in the Dominican Republic. And so that's everything from investigations to working with law enforcement or military personnel in country, outside of country, and then getting the girls and boys, right, and then actually doing rehabilitation through the gospel. It takes years and years and years and years. It's a huge mess, right? We were told while we were down there that you better not dig too deep. This was in the Dominican Republic. They said because every single one of these leads to Washington, D.C. That's what we were told down there. And they said, you think it's about brothels and children, adults wanting to have sexual relations with children, are like, there's way worse things down here going on that you can't even. They actually said what the Dominican Republic is known for, which, by the way, think how close that is to Epstein Island. I mean, it's all right down there. They said what they specialize is in snuff camps. I don't even like talking about it because I don't want to see your channel get banned or whatever, you know. But so the human trafficking thing is bigger than what people can even realize, and what most of Pollyanna Christians won't even look at. They won't even consider it. And I'm like, your king sees it all day long. How dare you stick your head in the sand to the reality of the horrors that are going on in the world around you, all over the place, in the house next door to you. How dare you, Pollyanna Christian? Your king's looking at it all day long, and he is so undone by it that he did something about it. He came and died so that somebody might have hope. That kid might have hope, that the abuser might have hope, that the trafficker might have hope, that the parent that gave their kid over to it for money might have, that somebody would have the hope of redemption. And you're going to shield your eyes from it? Are you kidding me? And so we actually were recently back down in the Dominican Republic in November because the other family, I won't use their names, they're down there for 8 years. Ministry is still up and running. It's called Freeing Individuals from the Grasp of Human Trafficking, fightministries.org, if anybody wants to support them. And we were only down there for 2 years, but the reality is insane. In fact, I was just invited to go to Salt Lake City last weekend with some guys who you would know and some names that are kind of more big. People would know. They'd be familiar with the names in the counter-human trafficking world to do investigations in Salt Lake City just last week. So to say this isn't going on is insane, right? And the only people who would say that this is going on or is being exaggerated is because they're the purchasers of these children. So let's come full circle. Why is that relevant? Well, I mean, obviously it's relevant for these children, for these people, for these adults. I don't care who they are. It's traumas that you can't even fathom, and it's usually ritualistic. That's what people don't understand. This isn't just about pleasure. It is far beyond pleasure when you're operating at that level. Actually, pleasure is way down the totem pole. It's about power. It's about supernatural spiritual power. It's about tearing of veils. It's about fracturing. It's about fracturing spirits, fracturing souls. It's about rebuilding. It's about being God-like, and your ability to even create DID, dissociated identity disorder, and people through SRA, satanic ritualistic abuse, and all this. It's the adrenochrome, all these other things that, you know, a lot of people who probably follow your work are familiar with. But it comes full circle to Mystery Babylon. It says, and they trafficked in the souls of men. It's a very unique qualifier about mystery. Everybody wants to go, oh, it'll be a revived Babylon in Iraq. Yeah, no, I was literally in Iraq, in the ancient city of Babylon, touched the stones that still say Nebuchadnezzar on them, like stood at the gate of Ishtar, like took Al-Hila, Iraq, you know, which is where Saddam was unearthing archaeologically all the ancient artifacts of Mesopotamia and Babylon. Been there. Like, it's not a revived Iraq. It's not a Holy Rome. It's not a Vatican. Most people are like, oh, okay, Mystery Babylon's the Vatican. I'm like, yeah, it's not the Vatican. The Vatican is wicked beyond comprehension. It's the United States of America. You just don't want to know what's going on. You don't want to know why they call it District of Columbia. You don't want to know why most of the presidents graduate from Columbia University. You don't want to know what goes on in the Freemasonic stuff or the Illuminist stuff or the whatever. You don't want to know what's going on with the raising of Osiris, which I know you and Justin and Wes have talked about that in great detail. You don't want to know about the ceremonies. You don't want to know about Bohemian Grove. You don't want to know why it's called the City of Angels. Which angels? Nobody asked that. And you don't want to know in what God they trust. That's on the back of every one of your talismans. Dollar bills in your pocket. You don't want to know that. And it's founded on the souls of men. More importantly, the souls of children is what it's founded upon. So the global sex trafficking, it's not even, a pandemic doesn't even, like there's no word to adequately describe it. It is that deep. It's that big now. And it's because the advent of technology, of the internet, really, has just exploded it. So now it's the searing of the mind and then making the whole world drunk with their immorality. Who created? Who does the porn? Who does the video? Who does the whatever? Where are all the tech companies out of? Where are all the pharmaceutical companies at? Who's consuming 90% of all pharmaceuticals on the face of the earth? Who's producing 90% of the pharmaceuticals for all the country? Who's doing it all? Who is doing these things? Where's Disney out of? Where's Hollywood out of? Where's this out of? Like, it's all out of Mystery Babylon, the United States of America. And like, they show you in very plain English in Washington, District of Columbia, who they serve and what they represent and why they serve it. Who requires LGBT and abortion to receive foreign aid? I think there's 197 countries in the world right now. Don't quote me on that, something like that. I think 185 of them receive aid from the U.S. In order to receive aid from the U.S., you must, this came under the Obama era, you must implement abortion and LGBT to get aid.